August 8th, 2022. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 263 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
Mike, welcome back to
Thank
sunny
you.
Southern California.
Yeah, here for the weekend.
Good. What you been doing since you got here?
Well, taking care of my parents and
good.
going to casinos.
Oh, there you go. Good.
That's what I've been doing.
And of course, you and I went out to Harrah, Southern California 2 consecutive nights while you were here.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that. But get us started. So, I mean, your trip is going okay? And you're
it's
feeling
going,
okay? And
feeling so-so.
okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's so far so good.
Good.
My dad and I and my mother and my brother went out Thursday to Barona.
Okay, good, yeah.
So that was fun. I played craps for a few hours, like maybe 2. And then I watched my dad mostly play slots.
Okay, yeah, right.
The rest of the time. He had a good time.
Yeah.
He didn't win, but he had a good time. He liked it.
Good.
And craps went good.
Okay.
I kind of like the craps there. Full 10 times odds.
Okay, good. In the past, we haven't really enjoyed ourselves there, mostly because of the crew.
Right.
But you had a good crew?
We had a good crew, yeah.
Good.
Very nice, very good. There were a few funny things that happened.
Okay.
When I got up to the table, it was me and about 3 or 4 other people. And the rolls were actually pretty good. I was up a little bit. And then, they started to go down a little and people left. And so it was just me at the table. And then I had a mega roll and shot way up, and was real happy about that. And then this guy comes up to the table who obviously was a regular.
Okay, they recognized him.
They recognized him. And he said, lock this spot up for me. I'm going to the cashier. So they locked the spot up for him. He went to the cashier. He came back. I was on my second roll, and he was going to buy in. He had $10,000, 2 $5,000 strapped bundles.
Oh, okay, that he probably got from the cashier.
The cashier, right.
Yeah.
So I was rolling, and the pit, she took the money. And
But was it the come-out roll?
No, it was in the middle of my roll.
Okay.
I would have been a little more upset about him buying in the middle of a roll for that much money if it had been more people on the table.
Okay.
Or if the dice were coming his way and all the money was laid out, But since it was just me, I know, whatever. And I just kept rolling.
Okay.
But he he bought in mid-roll. And she proceeded to take one of the $5,000 bundles, take the strap off and start to count it.
Sure.
And then he had a fit about why are they counting it? It just came from the cashier.
Well,
and I'm kind of laughing and rolling, and I'm standing next to the stick man, and I turn to the stick man and say, "Yeah, just take a couple hundred out between here and the cashier. Don't count it. Just don't worry about it."
yeah, no kidding.
I'm like laughing to myself. If they're not going to count it, I'm going to live here. I just go and take, a couple hundred out of each bundle and, just give me 10,000 chips and then make one bet. I better color up. I'm hungry.
So it's like a regular, maybe it's the first time he's ever done this. Yeah, it's
maybe.
I hope that in retrospect he's thinking, well, of course they have to count it, right?
Yeah.
Who knows what I did
maybe,
with it on the way from the cashier.
I don't know his story. Maybe he had lost earlier in the day or something. Maybe he was down a bunch of money and just not in a good mood.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was kind of funny. So they count it. It's correct.
Sure.
10,000.
Right.
They give him the 10,000 and then my roll ended. And I said to him, it's just him and I said, "Oh, you can roll. I've rolled like 4 times.
Even though he
in a
didn't
row."
have any action on your roll,
go ahead and roll.
Yeah.
So he said, okay. So it was a $15 table. He puts $15 on the line and he puts $150 on all the place numbers not working on the come out.
Okay. Yeah.
So he rolls, comes out like on a 9 and then says to the dealer, all my bets are off. So the only thing he had working was his $15 line bet.
Okay.
Which he had no odds for. So he rolled like an 8 and then like a 5 or 6 or something and then 7'd out. Okay. Never turned his bets on.
All right.
Lost his $15. So then the roll came to me. He did the same thing. He put $15 on the line. And this time he put $500 on the 4, 5, 9, 10, and 600 on 6 and 8.
All right.
Off on the come out.
Well, sure. Okay. Off on the come out. Yeah.
So, I roll. I can't remember what point I made. He didn't turn them on for 3 or 4 rolls. And I was having a pretty good roll. I was making some numbers. He didn't turn them on. Finally turns them on. I 7'd out. So he lost all those bets and his $15 line bet.
Right. And didn't win anything because he wasn't working up until that point.
He wasn't working up until that point.
Yeah.
And I just thinking to myself, what the hell is going on here? And at one point, one of the dealers said something to him because he's obviously a regular, said something about, do you want blah, blah, blah. And he's like, no, not until I'm winning, And I'm like, well, if you never work your bets, how are you ever going to be winning?
That is strange. Yeah.
Then some more people came to the table and I noticed his play. It was very irregular.
Yeah.
He would sometimes say to the dealer, okay, I want the 5 and the 8 working.
Yeah.
So it's just real irregular. There's no rhyme or reason to any of it. It wasn't working out good when I left. He was down.
So,
But the funny thing is, and I should have probably said this at the beginning, when he came up to the table, he had one of those cards from the baccarat table, and he was tracking all the rolls.
Oh, okay.
And he was tracking not only what came up on the cards, but what came up on the dice.
Okay, so just to remind people here in California, all the craps games have to be based on cards. So
Right.
at Barona, you roll dice, and that determines what cards they turn over, and then that's the call.
And that's the call,
Yep.
yeah. He was keeping track of all that.
Oh, okay.
And so I think he thought in his mind that he somehow sees some correlation between cards and dice.
Now it makes sense,
Yeah.
Dr. Mike. Now I understand why he was off all that time. He was
Right.
he was keeping track.
He knew what was coming up.
Okay, now
of course he didn't know that the 3 numbers I made and then the 7. He didn't know that was going to happen.
Well, that's a short term, Mike.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you gotta
you don't
think
see
long-
results till long term.
You got to think long term on this. I hope he brought a lot of paper. Oh my God. It was so ridiculous, Mark.
yeah.
Cards and dice, and he thinks, he's keeping track of something like, oh, well, reds come up 30 times in a row. Oh, by the way, my dad and I, we went to Jamul on Sunday for just a little bit. I was watching my dad play, and I'm sitting there's no craps open, and there was a guy behind us playing video roulette.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
He put in $1,000 and he made $25 bets on red.
Okay.
I have never in my life seen $1,000 go so quick.
Really? $25 at a time.
$25 at a time. That thing, it's just like boom, it rolls and bop,
Yeah.
and then boom, it rolls again. If you got the same bet, he lost $1,000. Black came up so much, and then the 0 and double 0 came up. Oh my God! Every once in a while he'd win $25, and then like 6 blacks in a row. Oh, I was watching him and my dad just cracking up because it was so weird how many times black came up. Oh, and also I saw a guy playing the Dewey Don't.
At Barona or at Jamul?
at Barona.
Uh-huh.
And everybody can play the way they want.
Yeah.
But what he was doing, he was putting $25 on pass line, $25 on don't pass. And then after the point was made, laying odds on the don't.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So he'd lay 150.
Right.
I guess that floats his boat, but it's very boring. You sit there the whole roll waiting for the 7.
Yeah.
And then if the 7 doesn't come, you lose $150.
Right. I mean, yeah, everybody's got their own way of liking to
Yeah.
play. I think people like that are probably really focused, and maybe they even think, that this is the smart way to play. So, yeah. I
But it's
understand.
funny how I'm just sitting there watching the guy just watch every roll thinking, it's so boring. Why did you come to the casino? And if you win, you're not going to win all that much, right?
Well, I don't know. A cold
Yeah,
table.
Yeah, a real cold table. Maybe you do okay, but I don't know. It just seems to me kind of boring.
Not your style.
Not my style.
right,
Exactly. So let's talk about what happened at Harrah's.
All right. Well, but one more thing. Didn't you tell me that at Barona, they now only collect the VIG on
yes.
4 and 10 buys on wins, right?
On wins, yeah, afterwards. And I guess it's fairly new because I was surprised, and the dealer said something, yeah, we're still trying to get used to that.
Okay, so this is the first time, at least in the Southern California area,
Right.
that we know of that a casino has offered that, which is pretty standard in Las Vegas, but...
yeah, all the rest here you pay before.
Yeah, well, maybe...
And they
that'll be a
also
trend.
have the sharpshooter and the fire bet.
Right, yes, that I remember, yeah.
So,
yeah. All right, so let's talk about Harrah's. So on Friday night, you and I headed out, and everybody was glad to see you, of course.
Yep, it was a nice homecoming.
Yep. It started out pretty good. We had a pretty good session. If you know me, people who know me, Mike, know that I'm extremely superstitious.
Yes.
I'm always checking my horoscope. I'm a bit of a conspiracy buff myself.
You live by the horoscope, too.
So
plan your life that way.
So, of course, there are a lot of times where at a craps table, I will call my bets off.
Correct.
3 times in particular, when the dice go off the table, when somebody buys in the middle of a roll,
right,
and on a stick change. And for a stick change, I actually go off for 2 rolls because, I'm not an idiot.
Yeah, no, that's a smart thing to do, right?
Yeah. So on this night, oh my gosh, my timing was so good.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable. It really was.
It was phenomenal.
It may have hurt me once or twice.
Yes.
A few times it didn't matter.
Right.
It was like
a few
a craps
times
roll
like,
or something.
Or 9 would come up
when
which
I don't
you didn't
have
have
money
bad.
on 9, yeah. But oh my gosh, I was beating the odds. It was amazing how much money it saved me that
Well,
first
it was
night.
the difference in the night. You ended up winning. I ended up losing the money I won at Barona.
Yeah.
And
I had a small win for the night.
Yeah, and I lost my money at Barona just because of the times you turned your bets off and you didn't lose, and I lost mine.
Yeah. But we had a good time, like I said.
Oh, yeah, it was
saw
fun.
the dealers and everything, and we met a listener there, Jim. He came up to the table, didn't introduce himself for a while till he knew it was us after he heard our stupid conversation.
Right, I think after he listened to us for a few minutes, that must be them.
That's
that
them, right?
pretty
That's
lame.
the stupidest thing I've ever heard. I think that's
Right.
Mike and Mark. So, but that was great. Played with him for a little while on
it was
that.
Nice.
But ultimately
he didn't have good luck on Friday night either.
No, ultimately, kind of just went south. We left early because we knew we were going to be coming the next night.
Yeah.
I had things to do the next day, so we didn't really stay that late. So kind of uneventful. I guess we hit a tall and a small along the way. We didn't hit them all.
We didn't hit them all. No,
no fire bets paid off or anything, but I had a good enough time.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was nice to see everybody.
Yeah. Anything else about that first night?
No, not really. It was kind of uneventful, really. It was fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun because, all the dealers kept stopping by. Hey, Mark. Hey, Mike.
Yeah, they were glad to see you. So, the next night we went over about the same time, got in there late afternoon, and played a little while. And once again, me turning off the bets seemed to be going to be another great night.
Yeah, it was working like a gem.
And then they opened up a $50, or they were going to open up a table, and they specifically went up to you, Mike, and said, Mike, we're opening up a table. Would you like us to make it $50? You've still got clout at that place.
Yeah.
So you asked me first, is it okay if we play?
Well, that was a little steep because we weren't playing that. And I thought, and then,
It is steep. I mean, I have to really kind of change the way I play to make sure that
I'm still up for the weekend. So I guess I'll, that was my thinking. I guess we'll try it.
Yeah.
I thought if we lost quickly, we'd go home.
Right. So we went to that table and played, and it did not go well, right? I mean, it was...
Well, it started off okay, but then it kind of started to go downhill.
Yeah.
And we were losing. And then you got the dice.
Yeah, I got a hold of the dice and started on a pretty good roll. And I think the previous roll had been really good too.
The previous roll was listener Jim.
Oh, that's right. It was Jim.
It was just me, you, and him on the table.
Almost the whole time.
The whole time. And he bought in for $500, and he was concerned about, how can I play $50 with $500? Yeah. And I said, well, just, bet 6 and 8. That's all he did all night.
Yep.
Bet 6 and 8.
Except pass line when he rolled, obviously.
Yeah, pass line when he rolled. He would collect them a couple times before he pressed. Right. He ended up winning for the night.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Just 6 and 8. Yeah. So I'm so glad that worked out for me, especially the $50
I was very happy after we talked him into playing.
Yeah, I know. He was ready to walk away. No, I can't handle that.
Yeah,
You said, no, come on. So I decided I was going to be very aggressive on my roll.
Right.
no rhyme or reason to it. But, I immediately started pressing.
Right.
Right,
He'd had a good roll before.
Yeah,
And I think we were both up a little bit at that point.
Yeah.
And so it was like, we're up a little. Let's go for it.
Yeah. And
10
so,
o'clock.
I started making numbers. And this was great. And I'm pressing and everything. And we're watching the all tall small. I wasn't on it. Jim was not, but you
Yeah,
were.
I was, yeah.
And eventually I made the tall. I think it was
You
the
made
tall
the 12.
first. Yeah, we needed the 12 and the 2, of course.
Right, of course. And you made the 12.
Yep.
And, you're all happy. I
You're
was
very happy, right? And it wasn't much longer after that I made the 2.
Well, Mark, it was the next roll.
Oh, was it the very next roll?
Yeah, it was the very
Oh, you're right.
Don't you remember?
That's right, because you were able to rebet everything.
I was able to rebet everything.
So
and then I was cleared everything off.
Yeah.
I was able to reset them all.
That's right. That's right. So that worked out great. Well, meanwhile, I'm pressing. I started with a $50 4, and I started pressing right away. So I went to 100, 200, 400, 800, 1600. You're a little bit behind me because you
I'm
weren't
one
pressing.
behind you because the first time when you went right to 100, I just collected.
Yeah, right.
Because I was thinking, well, I just got up with this all tall small. I'm not going to go crazy. So I was one behind you. So when you had 100, I had 50. When you had 200, I had 100. Yeah. I'm one roll behind you.
So it's at 1600. It hits again.
Yes.
The max at Harrah's is 2500.
You go to 2500, and then I go to 1600.
Yep.
Because I'm one behind you.
Yep. So it's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic, right? And I'm already up for the night. I've got the max bet out there.
Right.
This is going to be great.
Oh, and our other numbers were all pumped up too.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's another case though where the 4 definitely had way more on it than anything else.
Right.
But it's like, oh, thank goodness, it's a winning night, and you'd already hit you're going to have a winning night. We got money out there, so we're having a good time.
It's funny, too, because it's just me, you, and Jim.
Yeah.
Me and you are whooping it up. Yeah. Everyone's looking around. All the other tables are full. Yeah. Every other table is completely full. What's going on over there?
Yeah. So here comes a stick change.
Yep.
Jeremy comes back onto the stick. So I said, okay, my bets are off.
As usual.
Yeah, and
they expect that.
and plus, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, if
you had like $4,000 or more out there.
Yeah, if this is a 7, oh my gosh, what a savings, right?
You're going to save $4,000.
Right, and I'm thinking, and if a number hits, oh well, big deal, right? I mean, but the lesser of two evils is I don't turn them off and a 7 comes up, right? So, I turn it off.
I never turned mine off.
No, in fact, you made a big deal of it. Every time I turned it off, you made a big announcement so everybody in the casino could hear.
Real loud,
I'm working.
I'm working. All my bets are working. And I'd wave my hand over the table. Right. I work everything.
Very good, sir. So I turn it off. I get the dice. I rolled a hard 4.
Yep.
You're whooping it up like, oh, wow, Mark, you won 5,000. You didn't realize I turned my bets off.
I forgot you turned it off. Because I'm lame. I'm whooping it up because I'm thinking, oh, great, I'm going to 2,500
you
now.
Go, so and you go to 2,500, right? And you're like, oh, no, Mark, I didn't know. And, I'm taking it was, okay, this was something that could happen.
Right. So you're off for 2 rolls.
Yeah,
that's roll 1.
I'm off for the second roll. So I go ahead and get the easy 4.
Yep.
So it's like, okay, well, this is going to happen. So I say, okay, my bets are on.
$10,000 you've just now not recovered.
No, I just didn't. Okay, I had no bet. I didn't win. What do you mean I didn't recover?
I won 5,000 on that second roll because I had it was
right.
At the max.
You were there, yeah.
And on the way home in the car, so you were trying to save 4,000 and in the process lost 10,000.
Not true. But I know I'm going to get a lot of grief. I'm just going to take it. All right. What else can I do? I'm not going to argue the point. You know how I play. That's the way it is. I'm Adam Bauer, not winning the $100,000 jackpot.
Right. You and Adam.
So I called my bets back on, got the dice, 7 out.
7 down. Well, the funny thing is, I mean, not funny, but the ironic thing is, you're trying to protect the 4,000, which you inevitably lost.
Yeah,
because
right.
when you called your bets on, you lost all that.
That's right.
You just missed out on the 10,000 you would have won.
Right. I would have won 10,000 and lost the 4,000 for a 6,000.
Yeah.
Well, that's really the funny, and if you want to call it ironic thing, is that calling my bets off did so well for me the whole rest of the time.
For 2 days.
It really had.
Yeah.
But if I hadn't done it that time, I would have gotten an additional 10,000. But of course, we all talk. Everything would have been different, right? I would have picked up the dice differently.
I just wonder, were you thinking, well, I'm ahead and I've got this up to 2,500. I'm just going to leave it on.
No, because that's, you see.
That would be me.
I understand that. And I understand gamblers think like that. And there's nothing wrong with that. But honestly, that's not house money. That's my money. Yes, I pressed it up to that knowing it was my money. I agree. I'm guilty of that myself.
Being a machine, you couldn't go against your programming.
That's right. Thank you.
Your programming.
I take that as a compliment. I appreciate that, Dr.
You're
Mike.
welcome, Mr. Data.
So, we stayed a little bit after that. We started getting cold, and we thought, Mike, let's just get out of here. We had a
it was
huge win.
I think it was like 1 or 2 rolls after that. I think I rolled, and then Jim rolled, and then we left because I'm not going to lose this back.
Right.
Lose this back.
So, we had a good drive home, and a good success. And our friend Mary was there. While she was there, she hit the must-win buy on the impressive progressive, and
then she won on video poker.
Yeah, just a good night all around. So,
and now, what was it you said after the second 4 was made and you missed out? What was your quote? You said, I can't afford to win this much money.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I can't afford to win this much.
I can't afford to win this much.
Yeah.
That's our new t-shirt. I cannot afford to win this much.
That's right. Under what circumstances will you say it in the future? When you're taking a bet down? I know it's probably, Mike, really, you want to press again? Yeah, I can't afford to win this much.
Yeah, right. Or when the roll's really hot, I can't afford to win this much. Take me down. Everything down.
I guess
that's the regression players thinking, I can't afford to win this much.
Right? I know the 8's going to hit again. Take me down to $6. Well, the only other thing I'd say for that, Pit Boss Mark was there. He was the one that was there when we hit the All-Tall-Small. That was good. I was able to chew on his dried mango balls a couple of times that night.
You chewed his dry mango balls quite a bit.
Yeah, they were excellent.
Yes.
Come in a little package here. I think they're from the Philippines. That was quite a treat.
All night, Pit Boss Mark is giving you, Mark, these dried mango ball things to suck on.
Yeah. Well, and to chew. You actually chew on them.
Yeah, there's candy in the middle.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, it's
like
delicious.
Some kind of candy in the middle.
Yeah, delicious.
So everybody, all the dealers, Mark's chewing on Mark's mango balls.
They're dried mango balls. Yeah. Hey, they're not bad.
Mark kept correcting everybody. They're dried because I kept saying mango balls. No, they're dried mango balls.
Dried mango balls. Delicious.
I'm not a big mango person.
You're not?
No, I don't know why. Never been.
Sherry's on a mango kick right now.
She loves mango.
Loves them. Yeah.
I love pineapple.
I do too.
Now, if he had pineapple balls, I might have taken one.
If they were dried, I might have chewed on them. Yeah.
Oh, we laughed so much. I'm still laughing the next day about your 10,000. I told my dad, and he was like getting sick. He's like, "Oh my God, look, how mad was he?"
It is affecting you and your dad way more than it's. I'm not even thinking about it. Right? It was a huge win for me anyway.
Right? Yeah.
It's disappointing. I'm not saying I'm not disappointed, but sure.
Well, you couldn't afford to win that much
I couldn't
anyway.
Afford it. Yeah, that's too much money. Anything else for your trip? You're basically winding down. You're going back tomorrow, right?
Yeah, so, leaving first thing in the morning tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, so nothing planned today.
Okay, and
doctor's visit for my dad.
All right, and then you're going to be back here in about a month, a little over a month too, to bring your other daughter to school.
Right.
We'll let people know again. We'll probably be heading out to the casino. And coming up here in a few weeks, we'll talk about it certainly in the upcoming shows. We're going to have our poker tournament, right? Because NFL season's about to start again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, looking forward to the NFL season.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking our Amazon link. Remember, whenever you're going to buy something through Amazon, please go to our page first. YouCanBetOnThat.com and click through our Amazon link towards the top of the page. All right, we just got a couple of phone calls here. Let's kick it off with Kyle.
Hi, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Kyle from Salt Lake City calling back again. I apologize if you've already covered this in a previous episode, but I have a quick question for you both about dice setting routines or rituals when playing craps and your thoughts on them. I ask because I was recently playing a Mohegan Sun in Connecticut, and one shooter's rather unique routine was to set the dice to the 3V formation and then physically took a step back from the table, took a long look at the table like he was almost lining up a golf putt, wiped his shooting hand on his chest, and then finally went back and threw. So this seemed to take forever, and the dealers in the box then didn't really give him any issues about it. So I'm not sure if he's a regular and tips well or whatever. But personally, the most annoying routine for me is the people who, upon receiving the dice, do repetitive mini rolls against the wall right beneath them until they see a number they like. Then they go ahead and shoot for real. But I just want to get your thoughts on these rituals, whether you like them, hate them, or you do them yourself even. So thanks again for all your work. And Dr. Mike, I'm glad to hear your move is going smoothly. Okay, take care.
Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah, we've actually talked about this quite a bit on the show in past episodes. Yeah. We don't mind routines, certainly.
Well, you've got to line your shot up, Mark. Yeah, I mean, that's just crazy if you don't.
The thing that bothers me are the routines that take a long time, especially the routines where there are long periods where they're not really doing anything.
Right.
Like standing back and, concentrating.
Lining up
or,
shot.
looking down the table for a long time. I don't mind, kind of going through the rituals. He's talking about, people who kind of slap the dice back to
what's fun about that, though? I do kind of enjoy it because I'm watching it and I'm always trying to figure out what are they looking for? Because sometimes they'll pick up a 9, and the next time they'll pick up an 11.
Sometimes it seems inconsistent.
Yeah, it seems inconsistent. Like, what are they looking for?
I don't mind when they do that when they're trying to pick from the 5 dice initially.
Right,
that's usually pretty quick. I actually don't mind it that much if it's fast.
Right,
but if they keep doing it because they're not getting a number, it's just the people that they wipe their hand on their shirt, they take a step back, and then
adjust their sleeves.
Pause for like 2 seconds.
Right.
Okay, Jim, that we met, he had a great routine, right? Where he would, get the dice, he'd kind of pound his hand, the back of his hand on the felt
once,
right? And then and his release was really good.
Shake his hand.
So he's got a routine.
Go. And he was fast at it.
Yeah,
so it was quick.
And I have no trouble with dice setting. No, it's just the things, and that's when we joked about on a previous episode and kind of made one of our listeners mad anyway, where, if let's say somebody's going through this whole routine where they're concentrating and, it takes 20 seconds to roll the dice, and then after 3 rolls, they 7 out, we feel like saying, well, what went wrong?
Yeah, what happened?
You go through this routine. There must have been a reason that it went wrong on that one.
Well, I don't really mind, like you said, routines as long as they're quick. Yeah. I mind it when it just takes forever.
Yeah.
Come on, let's move on with the game. I like a fast game.
Yeah, me too.
And I hate it when it just slows down to a crawl because somebody's got the dice and they're just eyeing them, or they're turning them over and over continually.
Yeah.
You've played dice before. The 6 and 1 are on opposite ends. What what are you looking for? That kind of stuff drives me a little crazy. Yeah. But as long as they're having fun, I guess.
Oh yeah, and we never say anything.
No,
certainly, and maybe the casino would say something to a low roller if they wanted the game to move along.
I'll tell you what I really don't like. I don't like drunk people who are slowing the game down because they're drunk and they're yammering or jibber jabbering with somebody next to them or something, or whatever they're doing and nothing's happening. Yeah. They're not even setting the dice. They're just hanging out. Yeah. Then I think, okay, come on, pass the dice.
Go ahead and do your routine. Don't take too long.
Yeah.
And as part of your routine, always be doing something.
Yeah.
Don't be standing there. Don't be looking at the end of the table trying to will the dice to come to.
I know we have one person we know that just stares at the end of the table, like somehow staring down there is going to make the dice land the way he wants. Or I don't know if he's looking for a landing spot or what he's looking for. But
All right. Our second call from Nick.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Nick from Virginia. I was just calling in with a quick trip report from MGM Springfield. It was my first time up there, and I went there overnight on a Saturday night. And late into the evening, you could find one of their 2 craps tables at $15. Actually, both of the craps tables were $15 when I went Saturday night, like midnight, which is something I'm not used to. They had all the carnival games. They didn't have any pie guy, which was upsetting. But overall, it was a really good experience. The crew was really good. The dice players there are amazing. There's no dice setting, really. They just pick up the dice and throw them. They also don't have any bonus games on the craps table, so it's just a straight felt. But it's weird because most of the MGM properties have either the fire bet or the all tall small. Sunday morning I went down, their craps tables don't open up till 10, but some of their other games were open, so I played a little 3-card poker, some 4-card poker, and they were all $5 a hand, which was great. And again, I'm not used to seeing those kinds of limits at my casino. Overall, it's a nice casino. We stayed at the hotel, which was also very nice. And I recommend anybody in that area go by there. They have pretty decent table limits. The dealers are friendly. It's a nice small casino, but they have everything you need. So Great show and keep it up. Thanks.
Yeah, good. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks.
Yeah, I really like it when carnival games have those lower limits.
Yeah.
Because in so many cases, a $5 minimum doesn't mean that's how much you're going to be putting out for the hand, right? So
Right.
many of these carnival games have multiple
Yeah, you're
wagers you have
putting
to
out
make.
$25, $30
Yeah,
or something.
so-
Yeah, imagine if it's a quarter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, yeah.
Minimum.
yeah.
You're
So-
really putting out quite a bit of money.
So, yeah, it's good news about MGM Springfield.
One thing I've noticed and I do like about the Midwest in some of these smaller casinos I visited so far, they have lower limits.
Yeah.
And I've always played, quarters or $50, but when I get on these tables with 10, I kind of like it because then, 10 times odds,
Sure.
you start with 10 and then you just progress up. You go to 20, 40, 50, and then you just keep bumping your odds up.
Yeah.
I like that because it forces me to start lower.
Forces you to start lower, yeah.
And then
because you can't do it on your own.
well, if it's a $50 table, I always want full odds.
I
right?
know, yeah.
In a way, I kind of like it. It's fun and it's different, and everyone can play. So nobody's
right.
other people aren't worried about
That's the real thing, yeah.
they only have two tables, and if they made one a quarter, and one 10, well, the 10's one's full, people can't play. So they make them both 10 and then give you high odds.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's good. Well, kind of a short episode today. I wanted to get back into our schedule of, every 2 weeks and trying to get back into that mode. So nice to take advantage of having you here, Dr. Mike.
Yeah.
Back in the, how's the weather back in Caledonia?
Well, today it's like 65 and kind of sunny. And here it's 95 and hotter than hell.
Yeah, it's we're going through a heat wave like a lot of the
my
country.
God.
Yep.
Yeah.
So stay cool. Well, that's going to do it for this episode. We want to thank some people for some recurring donations. Jeremy at the Color Up YouTube channel, James, and Kurt. Thanks to all three for the recurring donations. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listing showing all the gambling-related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks at youcanbetonthat.com/TV-listings and our list of gambling-related movies at youcanbetonthat.com/movies. We'd love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512 wagers.
Or you can email us at youcanbetonthat@gmail.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at youcanbetonthat and on Facebook at facebook.com/youcanbetonthat. Finally, please go to your favorite podcast app and write a review of the show. We love getting your feedback. Dr. Mike.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, the burden is off my shoulders.
Yeah?
I am so happy not to have this burden because for the first 62 years of my life, I've carried the Padres on my shoulder, and that's why their trophy case is empty.
Yeah.
But when I moved, I thought, oh gosh, now they're going to be great. And then they go and they get Soto and they get Hader and they get all these good players, and then they fall apart.
And they get swept by the Dodgers.
Yeah.
So
it's not me. It is not me, everybody in America. All this time, I've taken the blame. I've shouldered the burden.
Okay.
But it's not me.
Yeah.
So someone else is going to have to carry the Padres.
I still have a small, just a glimmer of hope that they'll win the World Series because you left.
Yeah.
But of course, I still need to maintain my pessimism. So
Yeah, because in order to win the World Series, they have to make the playoffs.
that's true too.
And that's looking slim now.
No, there's so much more baseball to play, Mike.
It just drives me crazy.
I understand.
I have to wait for college football to kick in, and
Yeah. Oh, it's coming.
that's first, and then we got the pros. And
yeah. All right. Well, go back to Minnesota, Mike.
I'm going to head back there and root for my twins, who are also blowing it too.
All right. Thanks for listening.
Bye-bye.
El Cajon? That's the anus of San Diego.